how to obtain DBA insurance while working in Ukraine. We'll talk about that right after this. So there has been some recent government openings for contracts in the Ukraine. Obviously, it's a very, very difficult situation. And one of the requirements that you're going to run into if you are exploring bids or jobs in that area is that you will need DBA insurance. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through basically some underwriting things that will help you get that insurance faster should you need it, because there is a little bit more work that has to go into it, obviously, based on the zone that you're working in. Number one, get a clean and detailed scope of work. Again, we're gonna talk a lot about what you're doing in that country, very, very specifically. A lot of times in government work, there may be some extension of work, some extension of task order, maybe something that goes a little bit beyond the scope. That's really not a huge deal in most cases. But in the Ukraine right now, in what we would sometimes consider a zone of special danger, we're gonna have to know very specifically what the task is that you as a contractor are trying to complete for the government, and no matter which area it may be in. So make sure you have a very clean, what I mean by clean is a very well planned out and well detailed scope of work that you're gonna be submitting with your bid. We need to see that as the insurance company as well to make sure that we accurately price what that DBA insurance is gonna cost you. That's gonna help with your bid and also gonna control your costs. Number two, expect higher insurance rates than on average. So if any of you have been out there and been working on government contracts that require Defense Base Act in the past, you know, construction costs, you know, for that type of policy, maybe it's 7% or $7 per 100. Okay, for maybe if you're building ground up and you're painting or doing some other thing, whatever it is in the construction world, it's typically around 7, sometimes can be down to $5 depending on the scope of work. But understand this, in Ukraine, you are not gonna get out the door, you are not gonna get started until you have probably 10, 12, 15%, 10, 12, $15 per 100 on payroll. Also expect much higher minimum premiums. You know, the typical minimum premium and across the world really is usually $7,500, $5,000 at the lowest. You're not gonna get out less than 10 in the Ukraine. So understand that whatever you're basically bidding on and however big or large that contract is, DBA insurance could be a very large portion of the expense that you'll have to do work there. Next point, get very specific with your payroll figures. Often in bidding these contracts, you know, you don't know exactly what your payroll is gonna be, and it may be something you don't spend a ton of extra time on because you know it's gonna be around a certain area and you might be able to make up some of that expense in some other places. But understand that with DBA insurance, especially when you go beyond a minimum premium, you are guaranteed to have higher insurance rates if you inflate the cost of that payroll. You need to make sure you understand how much you're actually paying your employees while they're doing the work in Ukraine, okay? If that's what we're trying to do and bid on a job, that's what we need to focus on. Get that payroll as sharp, take as sharp of a pencil as you can get to get that payroll accurate. You may have to audit that payroll on the back end just to make sure it was right, but you don't want to have too high of an expense load on the front side to make sure that your bid will be competitive. Finally, security, transportation, and hospitality. Where are you staying? Where are you going to work? And how are you getting there? Security is vitally important in that region. Obviously, there's no guarantees right now, and that really is in large part why this type of process, getting the DBA insurance and being a contractor working over there, can be extremely challenging. Understand you have to have a very detailed plan as to how you're moving about the country. Where are you laying your head down at night? And what and where are you actually working? Obviously, the country has varying zones. There's hotter zones than others. But by and large, if you're stepping foot into the Ukraine right now and trying to do work for the government, no matter at what capacity, you're going to have a really tight security plan. Focus on that. be able to deliver that to us as your insurance agents, and we will help you fully understand how that will affect your insurance rate when it comes to the DBA policy. Gosh, we could talk at length about this. It's a very, very hot issue right now because there are gonna be more needs to go into that country, and the United States will probably take an active role. But please be understanding that we are here to help you through that process. Callahan and Rice Insurance, we are insuring in over 60 countries right now, the DBA insurance policy. And so we understand the unique risks that you as government contractors have, large and small, all across the board. On behalf of all of us here and the agents at Callahan and Rice Insurance Group, thanks for watching.